did you address that? Because you had that in one of your site areas.
We've still recommended it as a potentially a shared street because most of the time the traffic volumes are very low. I know during the peaks there are more concerns about the volumes of vehicles on that street. A lot of times with the cyclists, you have to teach people that they have to ride safely. I mean, the term is keep your head on a swivel if you're on a bike. You can never assume that you're safe because not every motor vehicle is paying attention. So there are, what we can do as part of this, and this is addressed in other towns, is look at, sometimes you create not just a map, but a map that shows you different levels of skill so that people know which streets are really for basic riders and which streets are more for commuters. Because the experienced bike commuters, they just go wherever they go. They pretend they basically assume to be a vehicle, that they're a vehicle already, and they operate on higher speeds and higher volumes roads than most of us would want to do. So we have looked at that as a concern, and we can address that when we start laying out the official bike routes and put the signage out there. The map that we want to produce can also show that the particular streets may be more for more higher level bike cyclists.
Okay. As you implement this plan for Elkton Bicycle, is there a formula that would determine or estimate how many riders you might get? Assuming now, with some formulas, you got X amount of people that live in a certain area, and it could be 1%, 2%, 3%, or what have you. I don't know what type of formula you may have been, introduced to or bring about, but is there an estimate or anticipated amount?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that question, and the woman who worked the most on this report is Tamika Graham. She's sitting in the audience. I don't know if she's heard anything like that. It generally goes along the lines of people assume if you build it, they will come. Well, the first thing, usually one of the first things that's done in this type of situation is you put out your bike parking, because you want to get a feel for how many people are already out there riding their bikes, and sometimes you take account of bikes that are chained to trees or railings or things like that to get a feel for how many people might already be out there. By putting out the racks, which is a fairly low cost first step, you can kind of gauge how many people you might get right off the bat if they see a bike rack right in front of a set group of stores they want to use. I don't know that there's something, a particular formula for calculation, because the percentages vary depending on the place and depending on how bike friendly it is. So we will make a note to take a look for that, and if we can get you some sort of information on that.
No, I was just wondering if that's the case, because a lot of time when you implement a program and you get it started, and depending upon the number of people that live in a designated area, you may come back and revisit that a year, and let's say there's 5,000 people and you discovered you got 500. So, if you've done this over and over again, you may have a formula, but in your case, you may not. That's the reason why I asked.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. What we'll do is come back every year and make counts, and just to see how we're doing.
Right. Okay.
Are there any other questions?
How accommodating with State Highway been or going to be with like signage and putting those paths on State Highway?
State Highway actually have a bike coordinator that they in-house, and we had them at most of our meetings. I would say the real champion seems to be the Department of Transportation from Maryland. They have a bicycle coordinator who's full-time, and he is fantastic. He has a lot of experience, and he was a huge benefit to us when we were doing this plan. And so it's kind of nice to be able to lean on someone at the state level who's really enthusiastic about cycling, and we guaranteed we had really good attendance. We had one of our workshops, we actually had someone from the governor's Bike and Pedestrian Council, who was attended in place of MDOT's bike coordinator, and he was very enthusiastic about the plan and loves the idea that the town of Elkton is looking at a bike plan. So it is nice to have that kind of support all the way up. The state of Maryland really wants to move up the bike-friendly scale as a state.
Okay, so are you looking for endorsement then tonight on this plan?
We are requesting endorsement.
Does the commissioners have any recommendations, or do they like to go forward with the recommendation?
I'll make a motion that we allow them to continue in this effort.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Thank you
carried.
very much.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do that.
There's a lot of questions. What's this one?
Oh, Heather's going to do it. Okay.
Well, thank you. Continuing on, this is we appreciate you allowing us to take over your agenda tonight. But we've had, I think, 2 good studies here that we have been working on over the past year and a half, and hopefully are wrapping up soon, so we can move on to the implementation phase. And the next one we'll be talking about is the Elkton Transit-Oriented Development Plan, which we've been working on with the town. And what transit-oriented development is looking at the area around your train station, and in this case, it's really transit-ready development that we're proposing. One of the things that Maryland Department of Transportation and Mark had requested of us when we asked a while back what we could do to help get the MARC service extended, they asked that what we could do is start getting the town ready in terms of the land use and local transportation network to help support the train station and make the transit service successful when that extension is made. And so that's really why we undertook doing this plan, where we're looking at supporting that future reintroduction of train service. But even aside from the train service, working and implementing transit-oriented development will help boost the livability of the downtown area, help walking, biking, and transit access, support local and state smart growth initiatives, and really help foster this historic town and boost its livability and economic development. And so there's your train station area, and typically a TOD will look at the area that's within about a 10 to 15 minute walk from the train station. And you can see the outer circle there is a 15-minute walk, which encompasses all of your downtown. So it's already a very walkable, good skilled community for transit-oriented development. And we looked primarily at the south side of the track. We thought the north side was a nice compact residential community that really didn't need any recommendations. We've done fairly extensive outreach as part of the process that began last September at Fall Fest. We had a display as well as a survey that people could take stickers and vote on what their top issues were and give us feedback for the plan. We had focus group interviews, met with everybody from large institutions like the Cecil College, Union Hospital, as well as small businesses and residents. And then that all led up to a visioning workshop, which was a very interactive event where after a short presentation, people gathered around tables and brainstormed and used stickers. And
It was fantastic.
I think it was fun.
It really was, and it was a great turnout.
So again, it was a very hands-on process because we wanted a plan that really reflected what the community's vision was, and that was what we got at that workshop. From there, we had a second advisory committee and a workshop where we presented a few different concepts based on that visioning exercise, and used the feedback from those meetings to really hone the recommendations to what's in the report that we have in front of you tonight.
I don't want to throw you off your presentation already, but could you go back one slide, please?
Sure, I'll try.
I do that just to see if the machine works.
I know, it's, laptop's a
You
little
showed
finicky.
the distance from the train station.
Yes.
What proposal are they making to come across the track from that side?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
We show a pedestrian and bike bridge that crosses over
Okay.
because we want those folks on the north side. As I said, we didn't have recommendations for that neighborhood because we thought the neighborhood's fantastic. But we want them to be able to walk across. It's ridiculous for somebody to have to walk over the existing
I had to ask you what I was
bridge.
thinking it.
Oh, it's a good question.
One for the year.
So this is a result of the survey from Fall Fest, and we heard similar responses at the workshop. People's top priority is getting that train station reopened, but close second is safe places to walk and bicycle, which really ties in with the bike plan that you just endorsed. And then very close behind is just maintaining that character. And when we asked people what they liked best about Elkton, almost universally people had that small town feel. And so really nothing in our plan seeks to make you guys a big city. This is not putting skyscrapers in. It's having development that's very consistent with the existing character. So that's kind of a summary of what we heard. A lot of interest in, neighborhood coffee shop, keeping reasonable scale buildings, no more than 3 or 4 stories, converting surface parking lots to garages that are hopefully fronted by mixed-use development to keep it more attractive.
What's the number of people that responded to your survey?
The one at Fall Fest, the first year we did it at Fall Fest, it was probably about 100 people.
Okay.
A good number. We were actually at Fall Fest this last fall and didn't get quite as many people, but first year was very good response. So there you see your existing town, and you can see all the black building outlines. It's already a nice, dense, good scale downtown. And here we have our proposed site plan. You can see we're proposing some infill. The colored buildings represent new additional buildings, so it's not really a huge amount of additional infill that's being proposed. It's really filling in some of the gaps in your development. Some of the highlights, you see the train station area. We're proposing moving the train station a little bit to the southwest of the current station. The existing station is an Amtrak office now, and they've said they don't want to move. Also, that existing station doesn't meet their modern standards. So the station we're proposing is moved over slightly, and it meets all of Amtrak's modern station standards, because I guess one option that the town is interested in pursuing is an Amtrak stop there as well, and that requires high-level platforms to meet ADA standards and platforms of a certain length, and so that's what we've shown in here.
So is Amtrak going to help us make those improvements if they're requiring those improvements?
Probably not. Amtrak's got a lot of stuff on their table, but they're obviously very aware of your interest in this and did participate well in the study. We were pleased with how.
I had a very intelligent lady mention to me a while back that would be a nice place for a donut shop.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not going to say the name of ladies in this room, but anyway, it's a nice proposal. You're going to add that in your plan.
I agree. I could tell you a little coffee shop just opened up in the Perryville train station probably a month ago, and business is booming.
I took
People
credit
want
for
their
that
coffee.
statement.
People want coffee and a donut or something before they hop on the train in the morning.
I took credit from Michelle.
So the train station, kind of leading up to the train station, we're showing Bow Street slightly realigned to really draw people into the train station area, have a plaza out in front, and some new buildings kind of flanking the train station and Bow Street to really create a nice entrance onto there and make good use of the space. Big issue with train station, getting the train station, is how you handle the parking. We showed 2 options close by. I could say Union Hospital and Cecil College both expressed a willingness to explore shared parking options on their properties. We showed garages potentially at the bowling alley site, as well as this large surface parking lot that's used by the hospital. And having these next to the bridges camouflages the parking garage, so it keeps it a little bit out of view. One of the big concepts that we've had is the train to main concept. We want to create a nice route between the train station, heading down the realigned Bow Street over to Railroad Avenue, having people kind of turn at Railroad Avenue. We show a potentially expanded town hall there to really create a nice gateway into the town and really create a presence for this structure and draw people further down, using North Street to get all the way down to Main Street, expanding some of the streetscaping that's gone in along Main Street to really make that more of a consistent look throughout the downtown, because we want to enhance the downtown through this and not see other areas of the downtown competing with that as your center.
Well, if we could get half the money that Wilmington got to renovate their station, that would put us right in the ballpark.
Yes,
I
and one of the things this report does try to do, you notice it's not a big fat report, it's not a highly technical report. We wanted something that was fairly flashy, nice graphics, something that you could use to market the town, market the idea of transit-oriented development, market the train station. And so we've tried to give you something that's really visually nice so that you can use it as a tool to go after grant money, work with developers, etc.
This is the last question I'm going to ask you for a while.
I won't hold you to
I just want to see
that.
how good your homework is.
All right.
What what have you done to install security and stuff for these sites, for your bike racks and stuff like that, and just for people's security?
Well, I know that crime, is an issue. That was one of the things we heard about at Fall Fest, was concerns about that. I can tell you some towns are moving towards installing security cameras that can be monitored from the police station. Wilmington's done that, and I know they had a problem with their parking meters getting stolen or broken into, and they noticed that the ones that were near the security cameras weren't getting broken into, and so one of the recommendations in the Wilmington bike plan was to locate the bike racks near the security cameras, and that's something we'll probably be doing in Newark as well, because they've recently put in cameras, and we're looking to locate some bike racks there.
The school system through the bus, I guess buying buses, they installed so many workable cameras and some that was decoys, and that's just another recommendation you might want to consider adding in your plan. Is some people don't know what's decoy and what's not.
Yep,
So
I think that's a good idea. They do that sometimes with the traffic cameras too, the red light cameras.
I'm done for a while.
Let's see, other highlights here. A lot of small scale infill. Some of it, it's all mix and match. It's not an all or nothing thing. For instance, by the school district building, we show the potential of having a smaller open space area surrounded by townhomes or cottage community type homes. Another option would be simply to convert that underused open space into a ball field or something to draw people more to that area. Behind the courthouse, that big open surface lot, that would be another wonderful place if additional parking was needed to put in a garage. And again, fronting that with additional development to camouflage the garage. Streets, one of the things that we recommended to help open up some of the larger blocks to additional small-scale development is really working to complete the street network. So what's shown in red are some additional street connections that could be done without impacting any historic properties within the town. And bike and bus connections. This feeds into the bike plan, kind of local connections within the downtown that would feed into the train station with a bridge going across to the north side of the tracks. And then we also show a potential trolley circulator route that might be done. I know part of the 5-year transit development plan from the county does call for additional circulator services within Elkton. And I mentioned the train to main concept. This is really a central feature of the plan, and this kind of shows you how the route would line up coming out of Bow, down Railroad Avenue, and North Street to Main. And just a couple flashy graphics before we conclude. Here's a 3D version of the town. And all the dark colored buildings are existing, and the lighter colored gray represents potential infill. And so you can see that the scale of it is very consistent with what's here now. And a pretty picture of what it might look like. Yes.
Oh, no, go ahead. You finished?
Almost.
Okay. I'll wait till you finish.
And more pretty pictures. This is the view looking down towards down North Street and then down towards Railroad Avenue, a potential train station. Here's a street level view of what it looks like today. And if you did some streetscaping, extending what's down on Main Street to North Street, it might look something like this. Mind you, we're not proposing getting rid of the traffic light there. This is just creative license by our architects, but you can see the addition of street trees and decorative sidewalks make a big difference, as well as some additional infill. And this is what it might look like with an expanded town hall at that site.
It's
all creative, just concept. Here we have a view looking from the Armory area down Bow Street today. And here's a view looking that direction down towards hopefully a future train station in the distance, flanked by some new buildings around the train station area. And so from here, we've put together the draft plan. I did send it out to our advisory committee. I only heard one comment back so far. A woman emailed me and said, the plan looked great. She has her house on the market. She's planning on moving from Elkton, but she asked me the timing of this plan because she said if it could get done quickly enough, she might not want to move. And so with that, we're hoping for your endorsement tonight, and if you guys are satisfied with this, we'll bring it to WMAPCO's council at their January meeting.
You got some more questions?
No, I was just giving another suggestion. Now, if someone who designs these bike racks could put their only self-device locking mechanism on there, that maybe drop a quarter and you could even make some money off of this. Because
well, a lot of towns have the bike sharing also, where the bikes are public bikes and you put some money in.
And I'm saying this because Ocean City, when you have the parking, people put their little quarters and you park as long as you want, but it's a little ticket you can take with it. Many people won't have to worry about their locks or anybody break them off. It could be just a little device, you put a quarter in and it just locks it. Your
I've
bike
never
frame.
seen that. Oh, so you can invent that one for us.
Well, anyway, that's two inventions tonight. just another thought.
I appreciate creative thinking. Other thoughts, comments?
Okay, any other questions or comments? So would the board recommend that we endorse this plan so we can move forward with it?
I make a motion, we recommend this plan so they can move forward.
Have a second? A second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, and I will be very brief in the regional transportation plan, but I will get back to your question that you asked at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
Did Commissioner Gibbons take the second on it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm anxious to try these donuts now. All right, finally, we've been on tour to all the towns and in our region. We have a long-range plan. This is something we do every 4 years, and we appreciate you being here tonight and letting us talk about it. So WMAPCO is the Regional Transportation Planning Agency. I suspect this group knows this very well because I'm sure the mayor keeps you informed about what we're up to. And just to give you a little idea about where our funding comes from, we cover Newcastle County and Cecil County, Maryland, and as the Metropolitan Planning Organization, we're required by the federal government, and as such, they provide 80% of our funding to work on transportation planning. And we're the group where all the land use agencies and transportation agencies come together to one table to have coordinated decision making, hopefully. And one of our other tasks is that we involve the public so that there's an opportunity for anyone who wants to get involved to have a voice in the transportation decision-making process. And so 80% federal money comes into us. That's got a match that's a mix of state and county money and in-kind services. So we get the bulk of that 20% match actually comes from the state of Delaware. We get a little bit of money from state of Maryland, some money from Cecil County, some money from Newcastle County. But to answer your constituents, we're actually providing more services to our Cecil County municipalities than money that we're getting in from state of Maryland and Cecil County. So you're getting a good value. I'm surprised that our friends over in Delaware haven't questioned this yet, but as long as they don't, we'll keep helping as long as we get requests from you.
So if we were to turn all this down, what would happen?
It'll go elsewhere.
Okay.
Yep. So the long-range plan is really why we're here today, and I'll be talking mostly about that in the next couple of minutes. Something 20-year plan we update it every 4 years. You're most familiar with us from our UPWP Unified Planning Work Program. That's what we've done, used to fund the Elkton TransitOriented Development, the bike plan, as well as direct assistance for your comp plan update, and now you're working on zoning and subdivision update through that funding. Transportation Improvement Program, any federally funded transportation project has to be included in the Transportation Improvement Program, as well as the Regional Transportation Plan. And so the tip is where, when a project is ready for implementation, like Maryland 7D over the Big Owl Creek, raising that bridge, it goes into the tip and proceeds for implementation. And then finally, our congestion management system, something we do annually where we collect traffic counts and look at traffic bottlenecks to determine the most congested areas in our region and solutions to that. So this long-range plan, it's a bit tricky for us to update. As I said, we do it every 4 years. We normally have federal transportation legislation that tells us what we need to be looking at. Now we really don't. We've been operating under what's called, thank you. We've been operating under what's called Safety Law, which is the federal transportation legislation. Well, that expired back in September of 2009. And we've had continuing resolutions, the current one which expires this month. So we're not sure what our future direction is, but we know there will be some changes in what we're expected to do. And so we're trying to stay ahead of the curve, but we're not really doing a full-fledged update. And I might add, there's a longer presentation in your packet, so if you have any questions off of that I'm skipping over, feel free. As I already mentioned, we're just doing a very quick, easy update on this. Looking primarily at the project list, how we can keep that reasonable, because we need to include only the projects that we anticipate having the money for. And then we're also looking at what new initiatives we anticipate the feds will be asking us to do. Our goals remain the same. Each of these goals has a series of actions underneath of them, many of which we're just getting started on, and a very long, exhaustive list that we've carried over into the plan without change. We're trying to meet a lot of the future challenges. One of the big ones, we know in the next, between now and 2040, population 65 and over is going to increase by 109%. And as the population ages, there will be unique transportation challenges. And certainly in the short term, the economy and funding transportation and more people being interested in affordable transportation options like transit, walking, and biking are factors as well. So for funding, luckily in Maryland, the state has told us there is additional money available in the future for capital improvements. This is largely because a lot of the roads in Cecil County and throughout the state are county maintained. And I hope I don't have the Delaware chart. In Delaware, not such a good scenario. In Delaware, we actually run out of money in 2021. So consider yourselves lucky. The list of projects for your area, the full list is in the plan, but for Elkton, we have a few projects moving forward. In the short term, the Elkton circulator bus I mentioned, we anticipate for 2012. The rail extension, this is exciting news that I imagine the mayor's told you about. In one of our early meetings, we've been showing it as in service for 2030. And at the mayor's request, the state of Maryland gave us the go-ahead to move that implementation date up to 2020.